The all-new Renault Megane, the GT version, the top sports version at the moment. Also other trim levels. That's today on Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars. We are starting inside here today after we go outside driving because it's very nasty rain outside at the moment. And we're going to take a look at the exterior, interior, and then, as I said, at the driving experience. Here especially also focus on the GT version with the optional package in the front, in the interior, and also other driving experience and comparison of all the different trim levels we have here. We also have another car which is not the GT version here. So everything you need to know about the all-new Renault Megane, and I'm promising you it will be very exciting. Let's go. This is now fourth generation of the Renault Megane. It sits on the same platform as the Nissan Pulsar, or also a compact class car. And you know there's this alliance with Renault and Nissan, and that's why they're saving costs by that. A couple of years ago you might have imagined, okay, Renault as a brand, it's almost dying. They don't have really any attractive products anymore. This has changed radically now, for example, with the new Espace. Well, of course, there are a lot of discussion about it, but there's also a new Kadjar, a new Talisman, which we'll also have in the review. And then the most important car for them, the Megane. And let's start with the exterior now of this compact class car. And as most of the all-new Renault models, we have this C-shaped form. And when I'm using the key to open or close the car, then I can also activate them. You see them right here. The daytime running light is a very beautiful signature, definitely. And it also differentiates those cars in comparison to all of the other competitors, definitely. The GT version here, the sports version, which is below 30,000 euros in entry price in Germany, and that's really remarkable because it's way cheaper than the Golf GTI, and we have more trim actually inside already. So the GT version here has some bigger air intakes also. This is a special air intake here as well because this is creating some airstream, and it's going alongside the wheels and reducing the wind resistance here. This is a very interesting system, and just in the GT it's coming in here, going out here, and then creating some kind of Formula One effect, let's say that. So you have a wind stream running here. It's a little bit more accentuated in the GT version, definitely, and stronger bumper, you will see it in comparison to the normal Megane version we will show you right later. If we then move on to the side profile, we got bigger alloys, always, you know, as is quite used with the sports version. See it here, R18, 18-inch, and it is two-color scheme. Very beautiful thing. It says also Renault Sport here at the side. Then if we move along here, we also got the 4Control logo. It means we have the all-wheel steering. Later on talk more about that, so it's a very special thing. And the side profile, 4 meters 35 in length of this car, normal size of a compact car, and we'll soon also see how much space we have on the inside. And well, the side profile is kept kind of simple, let's say. We got quite strong shoulders, you see it right here, and I like it when the design is rather clean, but it's also just simple. And then if we move on to the rear, we see this is really the special part of this car because with these new horizontal taillights, you see they almost touch here, and I think it's something completely different than all of the other competitors. And I think it's very beautiful because it stresses how broad the car is. Well, it's not that broad, but visually you can do so much with that one. And so because it's also slim, it fits the modern style. You see how long this taillight unit really is. It says Renault Sport here also in the GT version. And what else do we have in the GT version? Some kind of fake diffuser. That looks a little bit cheap, but then also some kind of fake again, chrome exhaust. If you look deep inside, then you see the real exhaust, which is actually what I want. And then this is kind of the real part of the diffuser here. This also looks worthier. So about this 4Control, the all-wheel steering, it's front-wheel drive, but all-wheel steering. So when the front wheels below 60 kilometers an hour or below 80 kilometers an hour when you're in the sport mode, when the front wheels go like this, like right, the rear wheels here will go left, and then you have a small turning circle or more agility at lower speeds. Just at higher speeds then, both tires will go in the same direction, like we are also in this direction, to have more stability at higher speeds. And then let's directly compare how the car looks without the GT version. There's, by the way, also a GT line that doesn't come with the biggest engine, but then also just with some styling elements that is possible as well. But here, this one is the Bose version. That's the top trim level if you're not in the sporty region, more in this, luxury and sound region. And we see the biggest difference is at the front, we still got those C daytime running light. I can also turn them on right here. Let's see, there it is. See the same signature, very beautiful. But then at the front here, you see this is not that accentuated, not that strong. Looks a little bit more, just plain and simple. Also, the alloys, 17-inch, they are smaller. Side profile is rather the same. And then the rear, this one is different. Then we don't have this diffuser style here in the rear. But basically, even now here with the standard version, you still get a very design-oriented compact car, and that's rather seldom because most compact cars are often quite, well, not that exciting. Then let's get to the interior, and you see when I'm coming close to the car with this keyless entry, doing nothing, but coming closer, there's a small puddle light, mirrors flip up, and then I can get in. And what is exciting will be the quality actually, because you see it right here, and you hear this door closing sound, or also door handles. That really feels high class. It hasn't been the case with Renault in past time. Here it's really good, really has improved. There's an extensive ambient light here as well. We already see it here at the inside of the doors. I can show you later also how you can adjust that one. Then, and that I really love about the GT version, you have those special sport seats here, and those are from Alcantara. So it's a great possibility to go for a high-class luxury equipment without hurting animals. And you see there's integrated headrests as well and contrast stitches, blue on the outside, white one on the inside. The seat looks great, and soon I'll also test how it will feel. By the way, the outside, that is then artificial or so-called faux leather, just the very outside part here. It looks very promising. And as I said earlier, just about 29,000 euros in Germany with the petrol engine, and just right over 30,000 with diesel. Diesel is also with a GT available. Later on, more about engines. Then let's check out the steering wheel here. And we can see we also have a special steering wheel here with the GT version. It says GT with a badge. It's got a flattened end and also perforated sides at the left and the right. We got digital instruments, you can see them right here. I'll soon also take a detailed look into that. But in general, I can always say here right now, the quality here also looks very good. Renault Sport entry covers and also aluminum pedals. This is a driver's point of view, and what else do you see? There's a Renault Sport cover right there. And the middle one is the central new touchscreen. It's the same size, and you have, for example, in the Espace or in the Talisman in the top trim levels. We'll soon take a detailed look into that one. Of course, you see there are some stains on it, always kind of. Very beautiful is the automatic shifting lever. We got the dual clutch transmission here, that's new as well. 7-speed dual clutch transmission with the top GT version. It's called EDC here, the dual clutch transmission. And as I've taken a seat here for the first time, I can also just stress the fact, yes, the first impression was right. The seat does feel very comfortable, also for tall persons. I'm 1.86 m, also subscribers know that. And I still got enough space here around here, and there's a lot of side support. So in the lower part, but also especially at the shoulder part. There's a special shoulder part here, and you see the seat is also high enough. And although we have the integrated headrest, it's also high enough for my size. And I got this kind of space above my head, so also for tall people, not really a problem here. And later on when we drive the car, it will be very exciting how it plays out with the comfort then, if I've driven some kilometers, and also the G-forces play a role, how that then works out. So first impression here is really positive. I'm kind of surprised, positively surprised definitely, because this one can keep up with other competitors that are usually higher in class. And I mean, the Golf GTI is, at least in Germany, leading the segment, and you can really say that this one could step it up, especially because this one is really several thousand euros cheaper than the Golf GTI. That might really be a quite strong decision factor here for the Renault Megane GT. So you see here, as I told you, full digital instruments, and you can change some information up in the right part, and also in the lower part, for example, for the fuel consumption. And you can also change the whole scheme. I'll show you later how that works in concretely. And then here, for example, comfort mode, neutral mode, and this is the sport mode here in red then, and you can also put a personalized mode. And that is how it works. You press this shortcut button here for the Renault Multisense, and then you can pick it right here in the screen, and it changes the color here, sport, neutral, or personalized, and also changes some other settings. And you can, for example, at Perso, you can really set each one singularly. For example, how the engine is responding, for example, with the throttle input, climate control, then the display style. You can pick the different styles here I've shown you in the instruments, and also the ambient lighting you can change here. And for example, here it's kind of yellow-green stylish, red, blue, purple, and more clear style. Also the intensity you can change here. This then how it looks like, intensity, and then, for example, this yellow style, red style, blue style, purple, or that clear one. And I prefer the blue one. It fits to the blue contour stitches of the car. And then about the rest of the multimedia system, with the highest trim level you get this big one, and it's in this kind of form. In the lower trim levels you get the horizontal one, maybe from the Renault Kadjar, the smaller one. This is here the home buttons. Those are not really buttons, but they just react on your touch. You can see here the digital analog clock, and you can always slide up the climate functions here when the car is turned on. However, you also have separate climate function here at the lower part always for the driver and the co-driver, so you can always pick that one here. And then there you get a control here with the home button. You can always go back there and also turn it on and off. That is possible here. And this one here is always if you want to change the volume control, plus and minus, so quite easy solution for that. In general, by the way, about those climate control buttons here, they have improved. I've tested the motor show at the Renault Talisman. That was a little bit loose. Now it's kind of really fixed, so it feels quite good. But again, well, the look is not most high class, I think. What else is there to find? For example, let's check out the GPS, how that really looks like, and how are the reaction times. Plus and minus, zoom in and out is right possibility. Let's see if we can also move it along like an iPad. This is possible. Also zoom in and out. Yes. Reaction time, you see, could be a little bit faster. It's not flickering, by the way. It's just in the camera. It's a good resolution, definitely, in your normal side. And in general, well, it makes a quite good impression. As I said, reaction time could be a little bit faster, but the display is kind of clear. Even it doesn't look like that much in the camera right now. So I'm really satisfied with that. Here, for example, let's go to other menu, and you see we have this app view here where we can change, for example, connect the phone via Bluetooth. That's a GPS, multimedia. If you plug in USB, or you can also put in some photos here if you want to check photos maybe of your cat or your dog from a USB stick. That is also possible. And you see the reaction times inside the menus. It's also quite good. That is and vehicle. Let's see what we can do here. Again, to the ambient lighting. But we can also change the driving assistance systems, because those ones are also optionally included here. They don't have the automatic braking in case I'm rendering with the basic version. That's a flaw. It only comes with the higher trim levels. So that's a basic overview on the infotainment. And the GT version always has also this RS button, sport button, then it hops to the sport mode automatically. And seat heating is, by the way, here. It's will be, when the engine is turned on, will be activating 2-level seat heating is available. And below that, 2 USB slots is right there, and also right next to a 12-volt power supply, which is kind of hardly attached, but you can get it out. Let's turn on the card for just a second, because then we can also see that the head-up display is flipping up, and that's how it looks like. And you know, it's not a real head-up display that is going all the way to the front screen. It is this separated glass we have here, but at least we do have a head-up display optionally. The storage spaces are, by the way, kind of slim. You see not much space at the inside of the doors, and then the middle console has this bottle holders, but now you can adjust them, but they're still quite slim. The middle armrest part here, this one is, by the way, generally the middle console is from good quality, but then this one here is a little bit loose if you compare, for example, to the Volkswagen Golf GTI, but that's the only thing, and also not too much space. So storage space is not too plenty here, with some more space here in front of the shifting lever, and then of course also a standard glove box, which is right here, and that one is actually quite huge. And then let's get in the rear. I got the seat as I would be driving, and well, this is one of the less positive sides of that car. There's not much room in the rear compartment. We've recently, for example, also tested the new Vauxhall or Opel Astra. There we had really a lot more space in the rear. Well, those sport seats, they are kind of very thick as well. They reduce your knee space even more. I can soon show you at the non-GT version, that you have a little bit more space there. But still, I can't really fit in here. Headspace is okay without the panoramic roof. That's still here above my head. But knee space, that is really not existent here. So you have to be, children here in the rear, I guess. Let's look at the trunk, and it's, well, not too much, and well, you see, standard suitcase does fit in here. However, well, I think it's pretty mediocre. Nothing special here in the compact class segment. Not too small, not too big. Pretty standard, I think. If you have the Bose version, you have the subwoofer below here. If you, for example, in the GT version, there's also a replacement tire below there. Then let's take a look beneath the hood. This is a central piece, 1.6 liter of displacement, 205 horsepower, this turbo engine, petrol. 6.1 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour is the acceleration. 6.5 would be the Golf GTI, has more horsepower, so 0.6 seconds is the difference. But still, I mean, with the dual clutch transmission, that will work quite fast. And we also have a launch control here with the Megane GT. By the way, the hood opening mechanism is a little bit funny. See it right here. You press this one below the hood, and then it gets opened right here. Well, quite unusual solution, but at least you have hydraulic dampers. And of course, you can also get other petrol engines. We'll take a look at the other car. We're always searching for details and quality flaws, and well, this one is one of the first vehicles, so it might improve in serial production later on, but you see it right here, the gap right in front of the hood. This is actually a little bit too big to me, but let's see if that will change with later production models. What Other differences, if you're not having the GT version, this one here is the Bose Edition, so also a top trim level, but not the sporty trim level. You see here you also have a nice mix of some cloth on the inside, and I'm quite sure this should be faux leather, because you know, usually when they have this mixture, it's falling on the outside. They also look very comfortable, but you see it's not the sporty style with the integrated headrests then. And we got some contrast stitches. Here we got matte aluminum as those design strips here on the inside of the doors. And if we move on to the steering wheel, you see it's not, well, it's a little bit flattened end still already, but doesn't have those perforated sides definitely. We also have a digital cockpit here and also some ambient light. Main difference you can see here is the manual shifting, not with the dual clutch transmission, but same infotainment screen in the higher trim level here. So it looks quite the same, but we don't have those very emotional, sporty racing elements. Let's test the seating position and how it is different to the sporty interior. First of all, of course, it's not Alcantara here, as I've told you, and therefore you slide around a little bit more. Well, it's, depending on your clothes, can be good or bad. But you also have a manual pushing up the seat and manual going front and back. That's the same also with the sports Alcantara seats. In general, well, they have less side support, and to me, you know, as a rather tall person, let's go down. Yeah, I think somehow the sport seats feel better. They also not only feel sporty, but also more comfortable. They seem to be more suitable for taller people, just, you know, from very subjective feeling I get here when sitting. Because also, you know, those, it feels like it would have a lumbar support, but still it doesn't. So I can adjust also manually the back of the seat here. And you know, I'm not feeling as cozy as in the sports seat, definitely. Well, about the seating position in the rear, as I said, you don't have much space here in the Megane. You have a little bit more space in the for your knees when you don't have the sport seats, because these seats here are a little bit slimmer, but still hardly any space for your knees here, so I cannot recommend it to travel with 4 adults. That's the one negative side of this car. Here it is, by the way, where you have a replacement tire. In the GT version, you have the Bose subwoofer in the Bose trim level. And talking about other engines, this one is the 130 horsepower diesel here now. By the way, this is just a charging module. That's of course just here inside, that the car doesn't lose battery power. Diesels are available from 90 horsepower, 110, 130, and the top diesel 165. Petrol engines, as I said, top version 205 with the GT, then 130, 115 with naturally aspirated, and 100 horsepower. As for the petrol engines, wide variety altogether. Now it's driving time. This one here is another color. It's called Iron Blue, and I think kind of the signature color for the new Megane GT, and I really like it because it also corresponds to the interior contrast stitches. This is also another variant for the sport seats. You see they have the same seat form, but the inside is not Alcantara, but some different cloth. The Alcantara is more sticky, more sporty. This one here, well, it slides around a little bit. Alcantara is a little bit more worthy, I would say, but this one also makes a great impression. Alright, now let's go with the all-new Renault Megane, and here in the GT version, 205 horsepower from this 1.6 liter petrol engine. We will have slippery conditions, definitely, but that will be very exciting then, how this car will react, especially with the all-wheel drive steering. Let's see, I'll put down the vents that you can better hear me. dual clutch transmission. Well, the shifting lever feels not that good actually when you put it down, but it's still okay. So then let's go. And when I'm driving slow now, remember there are three, the most important things about the GT version. One is the all-wheel steering, that you also have the rear axle steering in the opposite direction at low speeds like now, or also in parallel direction when you're going faster. The second one is there's a launch control available here. We will also test that one. And the third one, and there's a multi shift down system that when you're braking, and then the transmission can shift several gears down at once. That's also very important if you want to move the car very fast, of course. Starting with very uneven road, that's always important for suspension, because on a very even road, suspension is always good, even if it's a bad one. And so far, well, the sport seats, they make you feel very comfortable. I can also imagine going a longer way with it, but ask me again when I've finished driving that one here. And funny thing is, when I'm going quite slow now and do some right and left, it's really an incredible feeling. I mean, I have the all-wheel steering with the Espace, but this is here completely different, because it's short wheelbase car, compact car, and it feels like the rear would be sliding around. And well, it does kind of, but it's not that it's sliding because the wheels are blocked. It's because of this steering. It's a really interesting feeling. It's almost like riding a go-kart, where you feel like this. Very interesting. And of course, well, the turning circle is massively reduced by that. That one is very important, definitely. And well, slippery road now, but let's see. What about the acceleration? Acceleration goes via the front wheels, but when I'm accelerating and going out of this corner here, let's see what happens then with the all-wheel drive steering. Yeah, it really pushes me around. And now 50 would be still, yes. I can't even hard to describe how that feels, but it really feels like a go-kart. That's maybe the closest thing. And this technology is really standing out also if you compare it to all of the other competitors. We have the different driving modes here. And I can, for example, also go to the sport mode. And there, the steering in the rear is also working below 80 kilometers. If you're not in a sport mode, it's working below 60 kilometers. That they go in the opposite direction. Then, above 60, or in the sport mode, above 80, again, parallel steering. We'll also test that when we go faster. Sport mode is also giving me some gears turn up higher, and I have a faster throttle input. That also helps when riding sporty. Wow. It's such a funny feeling when driving this car here in the corners, and you can't really compare it with other competitors, because it's really something special. And now let's see when we, for example, turn back now, and how agile the car is also in the city. It's especially important. By the way, the same system is working with the Talisman or with the Espace. And then they can, for example, also reduce the turning circle massively, also for a bigger car by that. Wow, that's the engine. Very loud, don't you think so? That's the sport mode. Shifting process happens only just later. So, but when standing still and riding it pretty calmly, the engine is also silent. So maybe when we go here in the city now, let's go to the comfort mode. Shifting up faster then. And well, sound insulation, they have worked on that one, but now it's also rainy outside, so it is definitely basically louder outside than it would be. But if you compare it to the previous generation, it's definitely a big improvement. And I mean, all of the interior quality is a huge improvement, really, if you compare it to the previous generation of the Megane, definitely. Yeah, and I think this all-wheel drive steering it really sets the car apart from the competitors, I can tell you so far. But as soon as we get some free space again, then we can even more push the car, and we take a look at that one. But of course, also always city driving is important, and also when you just have a lot of red traffic lights in your everyday driving, no matter what, definitely. So we will also test that here. So let's here go left now, and make a circle, and again, it feels like you're driving a mini car. That small is the turning circle. That's really amazing. Again, some red traffic light. Launch control will work with shifting pedals, by the way. We'll soon also show you that. And what is important also from the quality here, this is actually made from real aluminum, and that's also, again, a good quality in this respect. And I really like the blue color scheme we have here in the interior. Start-stop system, let's get deactivated now. And what the digital instruments, what do I think about them? Looks a little bit cheap, I must say. So normal acceleration. Really get a good power. You have small displacement, of course. I'm more a fan, that you have a little bit bigger displacement in general. But the acceleration figure, that is about 7 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers or 0 to 60 miles an hour, is generally very good. Giving you some acceleration figures, although it's, a little bit wet on the road here now. Let's see if someone is behind us. For example, as soon as this uphill is stopping, we can do some flexibility testing. For example, 40 until 80 to show you the performance, also with the dual clutch transmission. Now in the normal mode, let's go 40 till 80, starting now. '90. Oh, needs some time to get going a little bit. Let's see, let's go to the sport mode again. How the difference is there. 40 to 80 again. Let's go now. And that's 90. You maybe realize the difference also from the dual clutch transmission, that the shifting control came a little bit harder. If you're in the comfort mode, going back to the comfort mode now, it's more like with dual clutch transmission, you don't really feel that the car is shifting at all, and makes it very comfortable to drive. And then in the sport mode, we really had it pushing in, and you of course do want to have that when you're in the sport mode, definitely. So that is for the flexibility, and doing acceleration that could maybe happen on a countryside road or something like that. Let's slowly drive on the city even more, that we can test more of the agility of the car. That one will be, of course, more exciting. And also from zero, of course. For the launch control, let's see, we'll head it into the sport mode, and then after that we can use the shifting pedals. That will do quite fine then, and hold them, and then you can push the brakes and then hammer the throttle really. Of course, when it's road that wet, we'll have a lot of wheel spin then, I guess. But still, it's always a nice feature to test, definitely. Now when we're going a little bit faster now, let's say I'm still in the sport mode. Yes, I feel the rear wheel steering is still active. It's really a strange feeling also when going faster, because first of all you are afraid of, oh, I'm really sliding out in the rear, but it's not the case. You're not, and you really have to get used to it. A very interesting feeling, definitely. General about the overview. See, the side windows are a little bit darkened. The side rear, well, visibility is a little bit limited. If you look to the side of the rear, that's because of the design in the out. And also when I look to the front, the whole car has more kind of a cockpit atmosphere, not such a spacious atmosphere, more atmosphere of a, faster car. With some great agility here, definitely. Oh, engine sound is also quite reasonable. Now we're going 100 kilometers, and let's see. Now the characteristic is changed. Car feels completely different, because now the four-wheel drive steering at 100 kilometers it goes in the parallel direction and gives me more stability. And that is again a very strange feeling, but it's also somehow cool, I must say, really. But you don't have this, feeling that the rear slides out now because you have the stability from the rear. Very interesting, definitely. So this system is not a completely new system, but it hasn't been used in serial cars, well, for ages. Only a very expensive one. For example, a Porsche 911 Turbo S has introduced it a couple of years ago in the top version. But I mean, here in a compact car segment, it's, almost inconceivable someone does it, but they really did that now. And I think that's a very good choice. It's funny, you can really feel how the car is shifting. In sport mode from 80 kilometers an hour, there's different driving modes. So this one is probably the most exciting feature about this car, definitely. And then we'll turn around and see if we can activate the launch control. It depends on the cars how easy to put the launch control in, really. And also let's check out the turning circle here again. Wow. Hardly had any space here, but could turn around here. Really impressive. So let's now test the launch control for you. I've switched the camera perspective also to the dashboard. Then we hold both shifting pedals. See the green traffic light. Hammer the brake and hammer the throttle. There it is. Yeah, nice. But you realize that we had a lot of wheel spin in the beginning because the road was wet. And that's the problem with the launch control. It only works properly when the road is really dry because you just have too much power on the front wheels then. And to see this difference then, I now again make an acceleration from 0 to 100 kilometers, but without the launch control. And you see that, I think in this case with Tilbury Road, without the launch control it will be better, but in general it's a really great emotional feature that you have this here already in a car that costs less than 30,000 euros. That's 0 to 100 kilometers. And some of you requested that we also have some just riding enjoyment here as well, and without me talking, I know you like when I talk and give you information, but sometimes it's also just nice to just enjoy the ride, and let's do it like now. Now my conclusion on the all-new Renault Megane, and especially here at the Megane GT. First of all, it is one of the big surprises this year, definitely, because it is relatively cheap if you also compare it to the other competitors in the compact car segment. They have really stepped up the game in the interior. It's a really very attractive exterior, especially with this daytime running light in the big C form. I can turn it on again if you like. There I get the key card, if it's still, there it is, maybe with the lights or opening and closing. And I think they've done a very good package there, and especially here in the GT version where you have definitely enough power. And then with this all-wheel drive steering, that is really some very special thing to feel when driving, and maybe also a big selling factor for this car, because they have really something so unique here. And the car feels really incredible agile when turning. About the suspension, by the way, well, it does give you enough contact to the road, but it's not uncomfortable at the same time. This is very important for this compact class segment because you also want to use the car in your everyday riding life, of course. Launch control, nice emotional feature, yes. And this multi-shift down system, well, it's actually just useful when you're racing the car. Won't be such a playing an effect when you're just driving the car on a normal road. Maybe just a little bit disappointed that we don't have much space here on the rear compartment. That is not that good, but I think it's the most negative thing about the car. Overall, thinking about the car, well, can it catch up to all of the other competitors, especially those that are, very high class from the interior? Yes, it can meanwhile catch up, definitely. Maybe just from the space offering, that's maybe the most negative side. Because also in the front, you more of this kind of cockpit style. You really have to like that, and it's not the best when you're more into that, very open space kind of car. But overall, very promising price as well. And I also want to hear your opinion about this car. See you at the next Autogefühl episode with Thomas. Thanks and bye.